Saludos amigos, los invitamos a escuchar la mesa redonda de Roundtable, donde discutimos los temas del día, hablando de política, educación y otros temas, locales, regionales y mundiales, por USA la Radio.
Señores siguientes de USA Media, saludos. Les hablamos aquí desde la mesa redonda de Roundtable, desde el corazón de la ciudad del amor fraternal, from the city of brotherly love. Les habla Fernando Méndez, Dani Ramos controlando la máquina digital. Y bueno, tenemos noticias como de costumbre, locales, nacionales, internationals, but we are going to have a special guest today. A friend of mine, a former student of mine, who's a business person in the city, and he was recently profiled. I believe it was ABC, Yuki Washington, about what he has done during COVID with his restaurant, a bar restaurant that bears his name. It's Matt Pagano. So, long acquaintance and a friend. We hope he can join us soon today. In the meantime, we have news, local news about the mail ballot applications that are open for the May primary. And yes, what would be a quote unquote permanent mail ballot, voters will have to reapply. Those mail ballots apparently will only be valid if you reapply. I don't understand why the Republicans insist on blocking the vote. Well, we know why. They don't want, they're afraid of the vote of the general public. We want only, they want only their people to vote. People, not people of color, not people from the bad neighborhoods that Trump liked to talk about. So anyway, wording on Pennsylvania's forms is confusing, officials say, and they are working to get it changed. Pennsylvania voters can now apply to vote by mail in 2021 elections. Remember, there's a May primary, and everybody's getting ready for that. Remember, from now on, for us, for the country, even without being partisan, let's remember that every election has consequences. Let's remember that even as we don't seem to worry too much about electing this or that judge, that eventually we realize that judges play a bigger role in our daily existence than some of the politicians that we are always so concerned about, representatives and senators. So pay attention. Applications for the mail-in ballot were recently sent out to people who signed up to be on the permanent mail ballot last year, prompting a flurry of questions about why they have to apply again, according to Wanda Murrin from the Pennsylvania Department of State. So this was titled Permanent Mail-In Voters Annual Application to Vote by Mail. And the form is very confusing to people. Wanda Murrin acknowledged the application process hasn't changed, she confirmed, but it's only the Commonwealth's second year with no excuse mail voting, and there are still some kinks to be ironed out. The department is working to clarify some language to make things clearer for applicants. So even if you signed up to receive mail ballots to both elections last year, state law says you need to reapply. Si usted votó por correo el año pasado, de acuerdo con la ley estatal, usted tiene que llenar otra vez un formulario para pedir una balota por correo. Esa es la información que tenemos y que estamos diciendo que hay que tener cuidado, prestar atención, porque estas elecciones de aquí en adelante, con un balance de 50-50 en el Senado y legislaturas como la de Harrisburg, que está en manos de republicanos y otros políticos que no nos han servido bien. Hay que tener cuidado, hay que prestar atención, hay que informarnos para votar bien, para votar como se debe, no importa que sea republicano o demócrata. Así que vamos a ver qué pasa con esta balota, este mail-in ballot. So don't forget, even if you sign up for last year's election, you have to do it again. Though there are fewer high-profile offices at stake this year, results of the May 18th primary and November 2nd general will determine Philadelphia's next district attorney, among other positions, and could lead to a constitutional amendment changing the way state judges are elected. So this is a very important election, no matter what. All elections, again, all elections, todas las elecciones de aquí en adelante, all elections are important. Pay attention. Your vote counts, and all elections have consequences. So we should be concerned about who's in charge, who are the judges. Speaking of that, it was encouraging to see that even appointees by Trump throughout the land refused to do his bidding and decided all the questions regarding election fraud against the Trump people, against Giuliani, all the other lawyers who appear in different courts throughout the country. And it was encouraging to see that no matter who appointed them, these judges do have a conscience and they apply the law as they see it. So kudos to them. We have other news from the state. There are a few items that I want to address. The State Republican Committee did not censure U.S. Representative Pat Toomey, U.S. Senator Pat Toomey, failing to reach a formal vote on the issue after a 5-hour meeting on Wednesday night. That's according to a report from the Philadelphia Inquirer. So Pat Toomey, even though they were upset at his vote, not a Trumpist. State Senators Sharif Street, Democrat of Philadelphia, and Dan Laughlin from Erie, Republican, introduced the state's first bipartisan marijuana legalization bill, days after New Jersey Governor Phil Murphy signed his state's marijuana legalization bill into law. So apparently the weed is popular, bipartisan. Let's remember not too long ago that the weed was seen as criminal, and people were put in prison for possessing it. People were in prison for buying it or selling it. And now, well, they have discovered that there are medical benefits, and so you can get your doctor to approve, and you can to approve a prescription, and you can buy it legally. And that has gone on in many states, from Colorado to California, and now New Jersey, and possibly Pennsylvania, where the laws have been so behind the times. So encouraging Sharif Street, kudos to you. And Dan Laughlin, Republican from Erie. At least that's something the Republicans from Erie can agree upon. And that's one thing that, how do we change? How do we change the minds of all these Republicans who have followed blindly one man, who have declared that Mr. Trump is their idol, and in spite of all the evidence to the contrary, because this idol has clay feet, this idol may have committed many crimes that could put him in a condition of be the first president to be criminally indicted. So that's one of the reports we have, because the Manhattan DA now has in his possession, or will have access to tax records for the last 7 years of Mr. Trump. And we know there's trouble there. Those are very muddy waters that we'll be diving into. And we'll see. But why there are 70 million people, more than 70 million, who voted for Trump? Have they changed? I mean, there are some signs that people are seeing the light, but it's still puzzling, because these are not stupid people. There are people with degrees. There are people with experience in the military, lawyers, and they followed blindly. They, as we have seen from the testimony that is piling up in all these investigations, from the January 6th terrorist attack on the Capitol, domestic terrorist attack on the Capitol, that we have seen that there is evidence that there was coordination, that there were maybe collaborators from inside, and that not everybody who went there was a terrorist, but certainly there were people there who wanted to hang Mike Pence and wanted to kill Nancy Pelosi. And that is terrifying to think about the consequences if they had succeeded. So that's what we have to keep in mind. Republicans on Wednesday alleged the Wolf administration influenced the wording of questions on the May ballot that could shift powers over emergency declarations from the government's office to the General Assembly to make them less attractive to voters. Okay, imagine that. Politicians doing something that could damage the other party. Well, let's see what happens. Republicans have no right to complain. All I keep in mind is how arrogantly they behaved when Trump was in power. And that continues. But now their shoes on the other foot, and now they're complaining that the Democrats are acting with political motives. Los señores oyentes de USA Media, la mesa redonda de Roundtable, les habla Fernando Méndez, Dani Ramos controlando la máquina digital. Vamos a tomar una breve pausa aquí y regresamos en un momento.
Saludos amigos, los invitamos a escuchar la mesa redonda de Roundtable, donde discutimos los temas del día, hablando de política, educación y otros temas, locales, regionales y mundiales, por USA la Radio.
Señores oyentes de Úsala Media, les habla Fernando Méndez aquí desde la mesa redonda de Roundtable, desde el corazón de la ciudad del amor fraternal. Dani Ramos controlando la máquina digital. Parece que nuestro amigo Matt Pagano is waiting to come into our program, so I hope he has been patient and still waiting for us to let him in. In the meantime, as I was going through some of the notes from the city and state, on Wednesday, state legislators met to discuss the redistricting work, despite census data coming in late. President Joe Biden's nominee for Assistant Health Secretary, former State Health Secretary Dr. Rachel Levine, will testify at the Senate confirmation hearing today. So I guess she did a great job for Pennsylvania as Health Secretary, and now she's been picked to serve the federal government. Biden has he has nominated a lot of women. His administration looks more like the rest of us, looks more like the people, and not a whole bunch of white men leading the way. So we're happy to see that Biden has kept his word that he would make his cabinet reflect the nature of the population of the U.S. Well, Matt Pagano must still be waiting, and so we'll continue to the next one. Lucerne County Councilman Councilman Stephen J. Urban was appointed chairman of the County Board of Elections on Wednesday, but the county's chief solicitor says he is prohibited by the county charter from holding both positions. Okay, so here's somebody trying to have his cake and eat it too, have two positions. So making a living from the public treasure by having two paid positions. So, and that's in Luzerne County, again, up there in the northwest of Pennsylvania, where we have people who still believe that Mr. Trump won by a landslide. The election was taken from him. It's in Luzerne County. More than 1,500 state employees moved up in salary to earn more than $100,000 a year. Okay, that's coming out of our pockets. That's coming out of our taxes. We should be concerned. A pay bracket that now includes 11,337 state employees. That's a report from Penn Live. So 1,500 state employees moved up in salary to earn more than $100,000 a year. Now, put that in the context for reference about the discussion that is ongoing right now about minimum wage. And anybody who earns minimum wage would make around $15,000 a year. $15,000 a year. So there are state employees now that are making more than 100,000. It means probably about, let me see if my math is correct, at least 6 times, almost 7 times what the average person who earns the minimum wage earns per year. So the Republicans object to that, and they are blocking passage of this bill in the Senate. claiming that it's an anti-business decision to a proposal to have a minimum wage at $15. That already exists in Florida and California, I believe. So it can be done. Can be done. And even though businesses complain, and there was some senator from Wisconsin, I believe, who congressman or congresswoman or senator from Wisconsin who complained that this was going to kill the small business people, and that's not true. They can survive because they can adjust. They'll find ways to do it. So it's just not right. So speaking of that bill, that is 1.9 trillion. Still amazing. How many zeros are in a trillion? Because that is 1,000 billion. So that is an awful number of zeros. And that looks gigantic. And so the Republicans are now saying that that's too big. There are some legitimate concerns as to where the money goes, who receives that money, who receives those checks. But it's really hard to hear Mitch McConnell argue with this. Mitch McConnell is the same man who blocked every attempt at fairness and justice as he was controlling the Senate, and where he swore that every bill that came to him would die on his desk if it was a Democratic bill, a Democratic proposal. And so he kept his word, and now he is he's still in a position to make trouble because obviously the Senate is divided 50-50, and that's what he sort of relies upon. So Mitch McConnell, the former Grim Reaper, who blocked every Democratic attempt at justice and fairness, says, I am sure they would love to get a check. This is in reference to the COVID relief bill. I am sure they would love to get a check. We are in a 50-50 Senate. Look at the size of this package. This is not 2020. There are hopeful signs that the economy is coming back. Hopeful signs are there because people are thinking positively about the economy, about this rescue package, the COVID package that would help them, small businesses, and they are hopeful right now that they think they'll survive, and therefore they might be moving in the direction of hiring more people and investing in upgrading their businesses, etc. But the money is not there yet, and they owe money. They have borrowed money. So many of the money given to them will probably go to pay that debt. But here is this heartless Mitch McConnell, this Republican, Moscow Mitch. I am sure they would love to get a check. Well, who wouldn't? They would love to get a check. This is not 2020, he says. We are in favor of targeting this relief to the conditions we find today. Looking forward, not backward. So that's what he's promising. That's what he wants. So let's look forward. Get rid of him. Señores oyentes de USA la Media, estamos aquí en la mesa redonda de Roundtable. Les habla Fernando Méndez, Dani Ramos controlando la máquina digital. Estamos esperando la llegada de nuestro amigo Matt Pagano. Not sure what happened because he announced that he was waiting to be let in. But anyway, this is one of those things that happens in this age of COVID, that we're depending on technology that many of us are not very familiar with. So I confess to not being very technologically savvy, and I don't know. Anyway, so COVID, which is now in worldwide cases. Okay, Danny apparently wants us to take a break. Aquí en la mesa redonda regresamos en un momento.
Saludos amigos, los invitamos a escuchar La Mesa Redonda, The Roundtable, donde discutimos los temas del día, hablando de política, educación y otros temas, locales, regionales y mundiales, por USA la Radio.
Señores oyentes de USA la Media, estamos aquí de nuevo con su programa La Mesa Redonda, The Roundtable. Desde el corazón de la ciudad del amor fraternal, les habla Fernando Méndez, Dani Ramos controlando la máquina digital. Estábamos hablando sobre el Senado y Mitch McConnell, and all this. Some of this stuff is amazing, what we continue to see. Briefly, I mentioned COVID cases are still 113 million around the world. Deaths are over 2.5 million. 192 countries involved. And in 10 of the most affected countries, the COVID is down. And that includes Brazil, Colombia, Italy, Spain, United Kingdom, Argentina, Mexico. The numbers are down in terms of cases. And they're up in Peru, India, Iran, Turkey, the Netherlands. I guess in the future they will investigate and why that is, why that has happened. Why in some countries it went up, precautions by the government or not. We know what happened in our country. We know why we are in such trouble. But again, cases in the US, confirmed cases, over 28 million, but people who died, over 500,000, 503,000 approximately. And we know the reasons for that. We know that there was trouble in getting organized in this country. There was no promotion of safety, of masks, and so on. So, and I said, the good news, I mentioned the good news yesterday, and in terms of inventory, I think the government is making every effort possible to increase the inventory of vaccines. And now we have Pfizer, we have Moderna, and Johnson & Johnson added to the list, and there are more in the pipeline. I think, in spite of the pessimists who say that this is trouble and that we're not going to have enough vaccine to inject everybody in this country, or at least the numbers necessary to have to be able to restore our economy, to reopen schools, etc. So I think it's the herd immunity, which at some point, I think it was Trump who said there was a herd mentality. He meant to say herd immunity, and that means that so many of us are vaccinated that it is safe. So that's what we're waiting for, to see when that comes, when that happens, and we can reopen schools, restart the economy, all that. There are signs everybody has had enough of this. You can see as soon as there is a nice day, as soon as the weather permits, you see more people walking, more people in the parks playing and so on. So, and we are all hopeful that we're turning the corner. But Fauci and the other doctors are still cautious. The CDC, World Health Organization, they're all saying we are doing better, but by no means are we through this. One big problem is that there are some other versions of the virus that have shown up in South Africa and Brazil, and now they're in the United States. One that showed up in the United Kingdom has spread to more than 30 states here. So we're still in trouble with this COVID. And so, hello? Good morning, Matt. Matt, I sent you a link. I sent you a link. It's on your phone. It's on your phone, Matt. It's on the text. Yeah. Okay, they are waiting for you. Okay. Okay. I'm sorry about that. But that was our prospective guest, Matt Pagano, saying that he didn't know how to connect with us. He didn't see the link. Anyway, as I said, it's technology. We don't know what's happening. We have technical problems every day. It could be from our studio, it could be us, it could be me. And we have seen, I'd like to talk about this a little bit because COVID forced everyone to change their mentality, their approach to their work, etc. And we saw the national media, some people with experience in journalism, reporting, and so on, not young people necessarily, who had to change and start using Zoom, start using social media to communicate. And so that was a bit difficult for them. It was difficult for us. We all made adjustments, and along the way, even with while stumbling, we have made progress. But here's one of the consequences of COVID, because many businesses have changed their approach to how they operate. It would have an effect on our economy, not necessarily positive. We had the budget director of Philadelphia recently in our program. Ms. Waxman said that there is an adverse effect of so many businesses operating away from offices. It affects how we collect taxes, because it could be remote, it could be a Philadelphia business, but it could be operating from New Jersey. So that makes it difficult. That creates a problem for us. So I'll talk more about this, but we are going to take a break here, see if our friend Matt Pagano has joined us. I see signs that he is joining. So there you are, Matt. Hello, Matt. I don't know.
Good morning,
Hello.
Fernando.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Finally. What happened, man? I sent you the link.
Yeah. You know what, Fernando? I wasn't paying attention yesterday to all the texts, and
Right.
I completely overlooked the link, and I apologize. I kept checking my emails all morning, and yeah, I apologize.
Yeah, no problem, Matt.
Are we okay?
Well, Matt Pagano is a businessman. He's been in Philadelphia forever because he is a native. I had the honor of meeting his dad when he was running his cheese shop right in the heart of the city, around Rittenhouse Square. And Matt was one of my students at St. Joe's Prep, and I would give him a ride to his father's shop because I lived not too far from there. Anyway, so Matt and I have been friends for a long time, and I saw that he was profiled in the news by Yuki Washington and highlighting some good stuff that he's doing right now. Matt also was a St. Joe's Prep graduate, but he was also a colleague because we both coached soccer at St. Joe's Prep. And so here's Matt Pagano.
Thank you, Fernando. I'm so excited to be here with you.
Well, it's great. So how did it happen that Yuki Washington went to see you?
Yeah, Yuki's been a good friend and a good customer for a lot of years. Back when we were at 8th and Market with Pagano's Market in the old Lip Brothers building, Yuki was a regular customer when CBS was located down in 5th and Market. So when we relocated up here to Commerce Square at 20th and Market, we always maintained a nice relationship, and he would stop in for lunch from time to time. And actually, it wasn't even that connection that got us the notoriety for the meals that we've been serving in the city. It was actually a customer of ours that called CBS 3 and said, you need to speak to Matt Pagano and find out what he's been doing. I don't think anyone realizes how many meals he's served around the city during this pandemic. And so then a reporter reached out to me and said, Matthew, what's going on? What are you up to these days?
Well, so go ahead, Matt. You know what? Another time I would like to interview you about other things like soccer and whatnot. But I'm interested in your response to COVID and what you have done. So because that was the reason they profiled you, because something you did that was helping the people in spite of the adverse conditions that you encountered because of COVID. So
wait a minute. I thought that we were going to talk soccer today.
No soccer today.
All right, let me turn the page. Let me get rid of all my soccer notes, Fernando.
Yeah.
No, thank you very much. I really appreciate it because it's been such a terrible year for everybody. And I have to be careful because, I don't want to make it all about me and how bad it's been for me, because I know that it's bad for everybody. I know it's bad for every restaurant owner in Philadelphia, the bar owners, the clothing store owners. We are definitely, I know we've exhausted this phrase, but we are definitely all in this together. So I know it's not just Pagano's Market and Bar that has been suffering, but so we shut down a year ago. We're coming up on a year in March that we were forced to close when all the tenants in our building here at Commerce Square were sent home. So we lost our customer base. And I really didn't know what to think. I thought it was going to be a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. And here we are a year later. And so we were shut down. We were forced to close. Our financials, everything just collapsed. I mean, we were ready to go into our busiest season for the bar with happy hours in the spring and summer. And you've been here and you've seen the crowds and you see the excitement that we bring to the Commerce Square with the outdoors. I don't think there's a better venue in the city for outdoor seating.
Right. Especially during the soccer, the World Cup.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we brought 3,000 people here for the World Cup.
Yeah.
Right behind me here is the outdoor courtyard, So, so we were forced to close, and March, April, May, finally, we got some SBA support. And with that, I knew that we had to do some major renovations here in order to make our customers feel safe when they came back.
Right.
So we quietly renovated the store. We took that SBA money and we put it to good use. And we got rid of anything. And it was time for some changes. And I wanted to get in front of it. So we took out the salad bar where it's self-serve. We took out anything that was self-serve.
Right.
And we created more space here. And again, but we still didn't know when people were going to come back. So we went through the summer, we were closed. We went through the fall, we were closed. We finally reopened in first week of November. We finally reopened our doors. And unfortunately, still nobody's here. Out of the 6,000 people in our building, maybe about 150 to 200 people are in the building, are considered essential employees.
Yeah, we're talking about the office buildings surrounding you. Yeah.
Yes.
And now the dire prospect for that, because what is in the news right now is that people are studying ways to continue doing remote work as opposed to going to back to offices. You know, many businesses may not reopen that way.
True. It's definitely a concern, but we have to hold out hope that these big firms honor their leases and bring their staff back to work.
Right.
I can't imagine these law firms that are in my building. And Fernando, you know who they are. There's some seriously high-profile law firms in my building.
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
So these guys are not going to work from home with their slippers and their robes. They have to come back to their office.
Right.
So we expect the law firms to come back. We have 3 major international accounting firms here in our building. Mm-hmm. You have to expect these guys to come back. Right. Yes, they've made it working from home. We acknowledge that, but they have long-term leases here, and they're going to come back. And when they come back, we're going to be ready, and it's going to be an exciting time. It's going to be amazing when everyone comes back, because people are tired of being home. People are tired of working. I truly believe people are tired of working from home, and they want to get back to the office. They want to be around their colleagues. They want some kind of normalcy in their lives. And it's going to be an exciting time when they all come back. We'll be ready.
Yeah, I was saying precisely that before you came on board. I was saying that you can sense in the city that people are eager to get out. There are more people walking the streets as soon as we got a sunny day, a decent day with no snow and no ice.
Yes.
People were out. People were out walking the streets. People are in the park. So there is hope that this is. We're turning the corner in terms of vaccines also and all that. So Matt, tell us quickly about the whole idea of helping people with food. You did.
Sure, Fernando.
Special.
So thank you. What happened was at some time during the summer, I received a phone call from my landlord, Brandywine Realty Trust. And they asked me if I could provide some meals for a couple community centers in West Philly that were having difficulties securing food for families in need, for families that were food insecure.
Right.
Apparently kitchens were closed. They weren't able to cook meals in these kitchens. They were not considered safe during COVID. So Brandywine called me and said, are you set up to handle these meals? I said, of course we are. We're fully remodeled. We're clean. We have nothing going on. We have no customers. I have a handful of guys standing around because we laid off about 20 employees. So we had a couple guys still on the payroll. I said, sure, what do you need? Well, we need meals for 500 people. We need meals for 125 families. Actually, it was 125 families packed in 4s. So it was 1,000 meals the first order. So one thing led to another, 125 families, 4. Yeah. So we provided these packed meals of chicken parmesan and pasta. and we delivered them over to Parkside in West Philadelphia. And it was just incredible. The food was going in 10 minutes. The lines were amazing. They were blocks long. So they called me again. Matthew, can you now go to Mantua? Same thing. Sure, absolutely. We can do Mantua. All right. We need another 1,000 chicken parmesans and pastas. Okay. Next week, another phone call. Matthew, can you help Chosen 300, which is a ministry located on the 1100 block of Spring Garden, and also at 40th and Lancaster. So we hooked up with Brian Jenkins at Chosen 300. So then the wheels just got rolling, and it was all due to Brandywine. So I realized that this was a great avenue for me for a couple reasons. One, to take care of all these people that were seriously in need of a meal.
Right.
That was number one. Number two, it was able to sustain our business, and the meals were at cost. They were just covering the cost of the product and covering the cost to pay my staff. So it was another way to pay my staff, since there's no income coming in here at Pagano's. So with that, I reached out to several firms in my building and asked them for donations to help me feed more families in need. And the response was incredible. Guys like Chris Fazzini at Reliance Insurance, guys like Paul Ross at Mondrian Investments upstairs here, and guys like Tommy Giordano at Pond Leahaki Law Firm. So all these great leaders in our community, in the business world, were just so incredible helping me out. And so just about every week, Fernando, we were feeding a community center. It could have been West Philly. It was North Philly. It was Frankfurt. I hooked up with a church on Frankfurt Avenue. And it just got rolling. And I've lost count. I've actually lost count. It's somewhere in probably about 30,000 meals.
Oh, that's what I was going to ask you, because at some point during that interview, you mentioned the number of meals approximate number of meals that you have served to people. So it's somewhere about 25,000 to 30,000 meals. We just did one last week here right at Rittenhouse Square at 19th and Walnut. Sunday Love Project. That was 500 people. So it's been incredible. It's been so rewarding, and it's something that Pagano's is going to continue to do long after COVID, where we're going to continue to serve our community. It's really important that we do this. That's great, Matt. Is there a way people can contact you if they want to help you in this effort?
Absolutely. Yeah, I would love it. They could reach me at paganosmarketandbar.com, or they could call right here. Call me at Pagano's. Call me at 215-523-6200. And we absolutely would welcome the support. And actually, Fernando, we are working on forming a nonprofit.
That's great.
And that'll be dynamic for a lot of these firms in the building, and for a lot of people who want to make a charitable donation,
right,
and also want to benefit with the tax write-off. So the wheels are in motion, forming a nonprofit.
That's wonderful. So how do you see because we know there are vaccines in the pipeline. So like, have you had a vaccine?
I'm on the list. I'm still waiting, and I'm just recovering from heart surgery back in December, so I'm very anxious to get my vaccine.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, you're the prime candidate because of that.
Yeah.
Great. I had the vaccine myself. I had
that's
Moderna
great
at Penn. Well, now that we have vaccines, where do you see this in a few months? How soon you think we will start? I mean, nobody knows for certain.
Yeah.
Not even Fauci knows. But how soon would you expect to start moving in the right direction?
I think this summer, late spring, Memorial Day, I think I would like to see 25% of our people back to work around Memorial Day. I would like to see by Labor Day 50% of our workforce back, and I would hope by holiday season we'd like to be back at 100%. So we're still a ways off, but I think this summer we should see 25 to 50%.
Now they have a $1.9 trillion package, COVID aid. Do you think the SBA will help you again?
Yes, I'm counting on it.
Yeah.
I'm counting on it. I'm constantly in touch with our local politicians, and I'm constantly in their ear. I'm sure they're tired of hearing from me, but we need their help. And listen, I'm so grateful to be an American. I'm so grateful to be in this incredible country with the opportunity to be successful and to have, to be in a capitalistic society. And I think our government is doing everything it can to support businesses. I have family that live in Italy, and I hear what they're going through and their struggles. And I thank God every day that I am an American, and I am so grateful for everything that they've done for me and my business and my family. I don't think they get enough credit for what's been going on.
It sounds like an endorsement of the Biden administration.
Well, it's an endorsement for the American dream. It's an endorsement for what the government has been doing. And I think both parties are working very hard to get America back on its feet again.
Yeah.
And this wasn't our fault, and I got to constantly remind myself, this is not my fault. This is not a bad sandwich. This is not a bad menu that's caused my business to drop like this. I mean, we're off over 95%. We've lost. It's basically non-existent. If I turn my camera right now, we're empty here. I'm sitting here alone. There's nobody here, not one customer. So I'm so grateful for the opportunity, and it's an exciting time. I love a challenge, and I don't let it get me down. And because my faith in God and my faith in the Lord Jesus Christ keeps me going every day. And I know that I have an obligation to stay positive and to stay focused. I have an obligation to my family. I have an obligation to my staff. I have an obligation to my landlord. I don't have time to roll over and pull the sheets over my head and stay home and cry. I have to get in here and give it everything I have. And we're going to get through this, Fernando. Guys like you and I, we know how to fight.
Yes. Listen, when you come on this show again, then we can talk soccer and other things.
That would be great.
Because that is changing now. The Europeans are playing, even though the stadiums are empty. I think they will come back also. And
yeah, I would love to talk soccer. I record my games every day. I record my Italian games on my Italian cable. I record my English Premier Soccer games, and every night I go home and I sit by myself in the dark and I watch whatever game I missed.
Who do you follow? Who do you follow in the Premier League? Who are your favorite teams?
I'm old school. I root for Manchester United. I've always been a Man U fan. I love some of the teams down in lower. I like Newcastle. I've always been a Newcastle fan. So I'm kind of all over the place, Fernando.
Yeah. Me too.
Yeah.
Me too. Anyway, Matt, thank you very much for coming on my show.
Yeah, Fernando, thanks for having me.
Thank you very much. Señores oyentes de la Mesa Redonda, les habla Fernando Méndez. Estuvimos hablando con Matt Pagano, un comerciante de la ciudad de Filadelfia. Danny Ramos controlando la máquina digital. Muchas gracias por su sintonía. Los esperamos hasta la próxima.
Saludos amigos, los invitamos a escuchar la mesa redonda de Roundtable, donde discutimos los temas del día, hablando de política, educación y otros temas, locales, regionales y mundiales, por USA la Radio.